What's going on YouTube? So today guys, I want to talk about the first thing that you should do, and kind of in conjunction with picking the place that you're going to travel to, but more than likely before you end up purchasing that flight. And that is going to somewhere called Passport Health. Passport Health is essentially the place that you're going to go to get your immunizations and shots and relatively any information that's extremely important for the specific place you plan on traveling to. I personally was unaware that you had to go to a specific place to get all these shots, and I thought I could just go to my doctor and do it. So I figured that making this video on kind of the experience there and just making people aware that this is one of those things you need to do before you start traveling, because I hope to inspire a few other people to maybe travel immediately after college or maybe now, depending on where you are in your life, and kind of open your eyes to how cheap or how amazing it may be, and that now might be the best time for you to do it. Getting back to something that I didn't know about traveling outside of the country, Passport Health, and everything that I learned there. So the very first thing that I have from my own receipt right here is $75 just for visiting Passport Health. It was $75 for them to sit me down, give me this booklet, and then go over a lot of the information that I will briefly show you guys what they gave me. In addition to that, I also paid $75 for a shot. The specific shot that I got within the office was a tetanus shot. So more than likely my healthcare provider will be able to just reimburse me on that, because tetanus is typically a shot that you may get normally inside the US, and it's not something that you would irregularly get, only while traveling outside of the United States. So I'll give you a quick idea of what they gave me inside of this booklet here, which was actually really surprising, but also extremely helpful. So I'm kind of glad that this was something I had to do. So for right now, I'll just talk about specifically Indonesia, which more specifically I'm going to Bali. But they did give me information on the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, and a few other places that I possibly may end up going, which as of right now, I think is very likely. So within this book, they gave me certain things such as additional protective measures. So for example, things like repellents that contain 20 to 50% of DEET, and just kind of explain why it's extremely recommended and why it's extremely important. They additionally will give you things such as, they recommend that you have the influenza vaccination, a tuberculosis vaccination, tetanus, diphtheria, rabies, Japanese encephalitis. And so essentially they'll kind of go over like what each of these diseases are, how high a risk you are for them, and the cost of the shots. I will also go over that shortly, very briefly, as to kind of how much a lot of these shots that I could have opted to taking or did actually end up buying, how much they cost as well, because I did get more than just the tetanus shot. That was the only thing I got inside the office, though. I did get 2 prescriptions afterwards as well. So, and then additionally, so they'll kind of go into more detail. So for example, Indonesia, Japanese encephalitis, they'll say that it's presumed to be an endemic countrywide. And just to give you an idea, the shot for the Japanese encephalitis shot is $335, and there's actually 2 of them. So that was almost $700 that I would have to pay. Now, the lady that I spoke to said that it is presumed to be an endemic within Indonesia, but she said that if I were to lather myself with a ton of bug spray and things like that, and wear long sleeves and just stay really aware of my surroundings and not spending a ton of time hiking without DET or long sleeves and things like that, that I would more than likely be very fine. But for example, it's something that I should keep in mind, because if I were to have a mosquito with Japanese encephalitis bite me, that can cause neurological effects, and it is very serious. So additionally, they'll go over to some preventative measures. So things like traveler's diarrhea. So that's something that you may come into contact to while you're traveling, because you're not used to the bacteria and things like that are within the foods into the area that you're traveling. So that is one of the other medications that I got prescribed to me. It's something I can take with me. I believe it was like $5, and it's like a week's worth of pills. But then they'll go over a few other things that I should just maintain awareness of to be preventative against. So things such as AIDS, insect-borne diseases, cholera, intestinal infections, jet lag, and just kind of how to combat them and be preventative against them and all that good stuff. So that was extremely helpful as well. They'll talk about things that are travel documents that are required, how to get the visas for the specific place that you're going, if you're staying longer, what to do. a lot of more important things than just, here's your immunizations and vaccines, and that's it. They give you information on how to contact the embassy, emergency alerts, telephone numbers, all that good stuff, so that you're able to be aware of your surroundings and anything that may be extremely important going on. They'll talk about a lot of things such as safety and security as well, so what to do. They'll also talk about the victims of crime penalties, a lot of just things that you may not have specifically looked up yourself, but could be very helpful. So it's something that I more than likely will just read over on the plane ride there and things like that. Additionally, they'll talk about the food and water and what water is safe, what's not safe, how to look out for certain things. So for example, maybe ice is probably not the best thing to have in this specific country because you're never able to be actually assured or guaranteed if it had gone through a filtration system. Anything bottled and canned would be acceptable. So just small ideas like that you may not typically think of if you're not a usual traveler. So aside from the $75 visit, the $75 amount that I paid for the tetanus shot and my $5 for the traveler's diarrhea, I think I spent another $70 on a typhoid pill. That was 4 days. It had to be refrigerated. So it was rather cheap, but it was just another immunization that I opted to, and I think it was actually required. But I'm going to go over a couple of the prices of things that just stand out. So if you didn't get some of these vaccines as a kid, your bill when you could go in could be extremely high. But additionally, for me, thankfully, it was rather low, and I think the total amount for everything was right around like $240 or something like that, and I'm being reimbursed for 75 of it. So for example, if you haven't gotten your Gardasil 9, then it would be $325. Anthrax $210, rabies $370, polio $80, tetanus $75, typhoid $125, mumps $50. So this is just a small idea of just the amount that you could be paying, and granted there are much cheaper shots. So for influenza quad it's $45. Fluzone Pediatrics $43. There are cheaper things, but a lot of these things are around $70 to $100 roughly. So just keep in mind that if you haven't got a lot of your shots as you were a kid or before college and things like that, and you're going to be doing this all on your own and you're funding everything, keep in mind that this could be a costly little part before your trip even starts. But it's definitely a necessary one. I'm glad that I was made aware of this in time so that I could get an appointment. I think I got my appointment within 3 days of calling, so that was phenomenal for me. But definitely do it as soon as you can. As soon as you are absolutely sure that you are ready to go on that trip, make the call to Passport Health and get your appointment set up, because more than likely your doctor cannot do all of the shots that you're going to need, and your doctor doesn't know every single shot that you need in regards to the country that you're going to be traveling to. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to try and do a ton more informational videos before I even start getting these cinematic videos that I hope to be making out in Bali and all these beautiful places that I plan on going to. So Passport Health, make sure you do that before you travel. That is the #1 thing that I would say needs to be done before you even plan anything further than where are you going. I'll see you guys next time.